Hey, this is Dr.Nikki Zeigler. I am the founder of the Herpreneur Network, which is an organization for Christian women and business. And so of course, we got the Women Health Summit. Today's the last day, and I'm just so excited. I have been just so blessed from the speakers, panel discussions, the interaction of the people that's watching. Listen, we have thoroughly have enjoyed, just learning about not just mental health, but different people who struggle with things, just different situations that people are going through. You just never know what people have endured. I want to give a shout out to all of our speakers who have really showed up and showed out and allowed God to use them in their own right. And, I'm just so blessed. I'm just so excited to see what God is doing in this season. He's allowing us as women to unmuzzle our mouth. He's allowing us to show up for ourselves unapologetically. And so, I'm excited to see what's going to happen for the rest of the day. And so I don't want to hold you long. I do want to get into my spiel, what I'll be talking about, the importance of mental health in the church. Of course, I had a panel discussion a day or two ago with some amazing pastors, apostles, coaches, therapists. And I think, we really, did into a lot of things that people did not want to talk about. And, in this initiative, the problem we're having in the body of Christ is that a lot of churches and pastors don't want to deal with the mental health illness, but it's so necessary. So I want to talk about the importance, and I want to, give some pointers or things that you can do to really build up your mental health. I don't care if the church is small. I don't care about the location. I want to pledge to pastors if they can make an intentional, deliberate decision to become more caring and compassion for the people that's a part of your church and their families as they deal with this mental health. Often people with mental health feel excluded from their biological families, and for various reasons, they're suffering in silence. A lot of them are really at a point where they feel as if they might be suicidal, all because they're not getting the attention that they need or the awareness of the attention they need. Some of them feel neglected. Some of them feel as if, we're making so many excuses as the body of Christ on why we're not tackling the mental health, because it's so needed. I don't care if you was a large church. I don't care if you're a small church. There are so many ways that you can really help to feel the need of mentally ill people. However, some people say, well, Dr. Nikki, we might not have the resources, but you have the compassion, right? You have to have a heart of compassion, just like Jesus did. It doesn't cost nothing to care. It's required for us to be caring about people. A lot of them go through that, go through a spirit of just feeling loneliness because they feel like we can't connect to them, right? It's required for us to let go of our self-centeredness and ignorance and fear and empathy and move towards our brothers and sisters who are aimed, extended, and radical relationships in love. And so I want to talk about this. I want to dabble a little in how we can help with the basic needs of people with mental illness and their families, because we have a mandate from God to care for the physical, spiritual, emotional need of people. Every church must be intentional about ministering to people with mental illness in tangible ways. Mental illness is often referred to the no cash row illness. Most congregation provides a practical need of individuals and families who have ongoing medical issues or who are experiencing life transitions such as moving or job loss or pregnancy or death of a loved one. In a similar way, church volunteers can show up in their lives with mental illness by providing meals, helping the household chores, maybe offering a ride to doctors. Meeting practical needs does not cost money, right? But offering a little spare time or commitment These actions speaks volumes to those who often feel forgotten. They feel lonely. They feel as if people don't really love them. So according to the Bible, every church member is a minister. Go ahead and put in the chat. Every church member is a minister. Jesus called each of us as followers to care for the sick. This includes people with mental illness. Listen, every church can train and mobilize members to become a safe people who effectively care for and help mental illness. There will never be enough mental health professionals in the world to offer care, treatment, support to those who need. Churches has the largest built-in volunteer base on the planet, more than 2 billion members. What an impact we can make if these enormous pools, unengaged talent, energy, and compassion can be mobilized to support people with mental illness and their families. You know, one thing I will say as a person, and I'm just honest, we must learn how to remove the stigma surrounding mental illness. The stigma surrounding mental illness is profound and is deeply ingrained in the culture, even the church. People with severe mental illness often bear the burden of society's stimulus attitude of exclusion, fear, and disgust. Not only is that unbiblical, but it's unkind. It can be lethal, right? When people with mental illness believe they have to hide their illness from their loved ones or the church family of fear of being judged, being abandoned, being thrown to the side, it can keep them from seeking treatment they need, leading to worsen their symptoms or even despair. One of the most powerful gifts in the church can give to individuals is accepted as equal members as the church body, worthy of respect, honor as fully integrated contributors to the life of the church. How much money does it require for eliminating stigma? It doesn't cost anything. How many paid staff members does it take to remove the barriers of acceptance? Perhaps just one. The pastor who decides to knock down the walls of stigma one sermon at a time, it is not a sin to be sick. Listen, I think one thing I will say, and I'll say this about this network, is that we have truly learned how to collaborate. And I really feel like with mental health, we have to learn how to collaborate with our communities, because we are our whole being. A person with mental illness need therapeutic services, their emotional, their physical, their rational, their spiritual support in order to adequately manage their illness. You can't approach mental illness for only one dimension. Seeking a psychiatrist without also receiving spiritual support can leave some problems unaddressed. That's why it's so important that we have a balance. I'm not saying don't meet a psychiatrist. I'm not saying don't meet your coach, but you also need spiritual support that can help to deal with issues. Trying to faithfully take medication while homeless on the street will probably not be very successful. Being in a support group without also attempting to reconcile broken family relationship can hinder growth. People with mental illness needs assistance on every level. The church, it is a necessary part of a holistic care, but it can't do it all. Churches can build resources lists of mental health professionals, treatment programs, food bank, houses, resources, hospital, job training to help people in time of crisis and in any mental health emergency. Church can easily point people to outside organizations such as the National Alliance of Mental Health Illness, who have free and low-cost mental health programs if the church does not yet have a robust mental health ministry. Another avenue of collaboration is to invite mental health professionals and mental health organizations to inform and educate your congregation about mental health. Holistic mental health care requires partnerships in order to meet the needs of individuals in a conscientious way. Listen, it is so important that we learn for the body of Christ how to collaborate. We got to collaborate with mental health. We got to do it. One thing I learned about Jesus, as our wounded healer, the church can offer something that nobody else can. Listen, hope. It is not necessary. Listen, the responsibility of the government and even the medical community to offer hope, but it is the responsibility of the church of Jesus Christ to offer hope. Often people with severe mental illness end up alienated from their families and friends, leaving them vulnerable to homeless, substance abuse, crime, or even suicidal. Anyone with mental illness may feel like they are truly nowhere left to go, nowhere. Who cares where they live or die? For many, the church is the last hope. We are the last hope. And even though we are the church, stumble and fall to live up to the good intentions at times, there we can excel. Through the promise of Jesus Christ and God, we know how to offer hope, not only for their life, but the life to come. We know how to share these foundation truths that we can lead hurting people towards hope. You are loved, you have a purpose, you belong, you have a choice, and you are needed. We got to tap into the resources that God has given us. And one good resource He has given us, we must learn how to collaborate. We must learn how to offer hope. We must learn how to build a community of people. We must learn how to remove the stigma surrounding mental illness. We must learn how to volunteer our time. We must learn how to help the basic needs of people with mental health illness in their families. Listen, we must learn how to care for the people with mental illness in their family. Listen, it's all rely on us. It's important that we understand that hope is what they need. Go ahead and say, I need to help give hope. So I want to leave 10 points where you can help make a difference in mental health. One point I would say is make sure you know when to refer people to mental health professionals and where to refer them to when need arise. You can also refer congregants and family members to various support groups and classes. There is always classes going on about mental health. There is always something that gives you resources for the mental health, right? And so I want to talk about this. Number one, you make sure you know when to refer people to mental health professionals. Number two, stay in touch with the people with the mental illness, his families, his friends, her family, her friends. And people with mental illness and their families need an ongoing support. So don't just drop them off and say, hey, bye, sayonara. You need to stay and build a relationship with these people because they really need help. Number three, encourage your congregation to treat people with mental illness the same way they treat people who are regular members of your church. Don't try to treat them different. Offer to visit them when they're hospitalized. With their permission, ask your members to send them cards and bring casseroles when they are ill. They just need attention. Number four, plan a specific day to focus on mental health. Perhaps a conjunction with Mental Health Month in May or Awareness Week in October. Say specific prayers for people who are schizophrenic, who's bipolar, who's anxiety disorder, depression, or even mental illness. Number five, talk about mental illness in your sermons, classes, adult forums, especially when you're addressing compassionate outreach, social justice, erasing stigma and discrimination. Talking openly about mental illness reduces the gap of stigma. Empathize with biological natures of brain disorder. Remind your congregation that this can affect anyone regardless of age, race, religion, and income. Mental illness is not a regular personal weakness, lack character, or poor upbringing. It can hit anybody. Number six, pay attention to the words you use. Avoid stigma languages. Encourage everybody in the congregation to do the same thing. Do not refer to people as crazy and psycho and a lunatic and mental. Use phrases like people with mental illness rather than the mentally ill. That's an ugly word. We got to be intentional. Am I helping you today? Good morning. I want to put this in your ear. Educate your congregation. Bring in speakers of the medical community, your local mental health counselor, right? Run series of articles in your congregation newsletter. These are just pointers. Show videos of the subject and then encourage your congregation to discuss the issues raised. Am I helping you today? Listen. Number 8, if you have peace and justice ministry, encourage them to get involved with the systematic problems that affect people with mental illness. More people with mental illness are in jails and prisons than they are in mental hospitals. Programs for people with mental illness are underfunded, and quickly the budget is cut short. Mainly chronic health, homeless people have chronic mental illness as well. Number 9, housing and jobs are critical to recovery process. Encourage members of your congregation to find jobs and provide housing options for people with mental illness. And then the last one is start a spiritual support group in your faith community for people with mental illness and challenges and families. With those 10 things I gave you, it should help you or point you in some kind of direction where you're talking about mental health. It's important that we stop dropping the ball on this subject. And I don't want to talk about it because it's mental health month. I want to talk about this all the time because I feel like the body of Christ have failed us with mental health. They failed us. And so we got to do better. We got to level up. We got to stop making excuses on why we're not talking about mental health. Why are we not dealing with mental health? Why are we just acting like it doesn't exist? It exists. It is here. You got to be able to talk about it and deal with it and tackle mental health. Start workshops. Create a mental health day. Build the people who are dealing with mental health up so they can know that, listen, one thing about my pastor and my church, they are supporting me. They are there for me even when I get frustrated. But if you're not there for your members, somebody else will. You got to level up and step up to the plate. I'll be the one. Say, I will be the one. I'm going to be the one that's going to step up. I'm going to be the one to say, you know what? Let me do this and do that. I'm thinking about ways right now in my head. What can I do at Destiny World Christian Center to really help the mental health? Because they deal with so many things. Are y'all hearing me? Can y'all hear me? Because I want you to understand how important this is. We got to show up. We got to show up for them. They don't have nobody. We got to show up for them as the church body of Christ. We got to show up for them unapologetically. We got to love on them. We got to embrace them. We got to give them hope. We got to give them hope. Ask God to put that passion in your heart for the mental illness. So when you see them coming, you will know how to handle them. Because a lot of us has mishandled so many people with mental health because of what we thought or what we thought they said or what we thought we could do for them. But you never got God permission. Ask God to show you how to handle them. Ask God to show you how to help them. So I hope, what I've talked about has really put something in your ear to make you think, because I want you to understand that mental health needs to be discussed in the body of Christ at the churches. It needs to be discussed. Go ahead and put in the chat, I'll be the one. I'll be the one, Dr. Nikki. I'll be the one. I will be the one to show up. I will be the one to create the faith-based organization. I will be the one to start the nonprofit. I will be the one that will create conferences. I will be the one that will create courses. I will be the one. Say, I will be the one. Watch what God will do for you. You got to level up. You got to think. Because that could be your mama. That could be your daddy. That could be your sister. That could be you. You got to think. Mental health matters. Go ahead and put in the chat. Mental health matters, Dr. Nikki. Mental health, listen, this is good, right? Mental health matters. It matters. So I hope, what we said this week has been helpful. Listen, all day today. Go ahead and support the other speakers. It's going to be life-changing. The best is yet to come. You ain't seen nothing yet. Watch what God going to do with this, with the Women's Health Takeover Summit. I can't wait till next year. It's going to be bigger and better next year. Every year we get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, but we got to show up. How many willing to show up? So listen, go support the other speakers. It's going to be a really good celebration all the day when we, listen to so many dynamic speakers. Shout out to our keynote speaker, Dr. Josephine Harris. She's been holding it down. What an awesome. I had a chance to watch the mental health check-in last night. It was awesome. Good job to Dr. Joe. Good job to Mia. Good job to Simone. Good job to Lakeisha Pope. It was a good message. Also, I had a chance to listen to Dr. Gail James. Who else spoke yesterday? Let me pull out my paper because I want to let these ladies know how much I appreciate them. We had Lakeisha Pope. She spoke. Dr. Ray London spoke. Dr. Gail James spoke. Demetria Winter spoke. Listen, Dr. Joe, she spoke. Listen, it has been good. Listen, this week has been amazing. It really has been a lot of enlightening. It opened up our eyes to look at things different. And don't take life for granted, because you could be here today and you could be gone tomorrow, right? So thank you for taking out the time to watch me as I talk about the importance of mental health in ministry. I pray that what we did today was good for your spirit, man. Go ahead and say, hey, I enjoyed this. Give me some thumbs up. Let me know how much you enjoy. And we will see you today. Take out time to listen to other speakers. You guys be blessed. Bye.